Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and to my library. In this video we are going to explore 5 great pieces of Czech literature. I've recently got many subscribers from Czech Republic because I've been featured in this video.
Tamhle už je Vashik.
Dobrý den. One of my friends is a famous food reviewer, YouTube food reviewer in Czech Republic, so many of his fans decided to join my channel as well. Vítáme vás na mém kanálu, děkuji moc za odběr. Chtěl jsem natočit toto video v češtině, ale jsem nemluvil česky už 7 let. Jsem studoval na Karlově univerzitě a bydlel v Praze 6 let, ale zapomněl jsem česky a já se omlouvám. Takže toto video bude v angličtině, ale děkuji za odběr a tak začneme. I miss Czech language, but it is so difficult to speak after having a break for 7 years. I would like to begin this list with a book that is very close to my heart because it was recommended by my grandfather when I was a teenager. He told me that I have to read this great story of the good soldier Švejk written by Jaroslav Hašek, and I'm quite sure that every Czech person who is watching this knows or read this story themselves. It is a tale of a man whose name is Švejk, and he's drafted to Austro-Hungarian Imperial Army during the First World War. And he's very clumsy, goofy, often drunk, and he gets himself into adventures. It is so well written, it is so enjoyable to read, and it has so many subtle messages hidden in it, you know, about the futility of war. Jaroslav Hašek was inspired by his own experiences, by witnessing himself how pointless is war in almost every time, you know. Every war waged by empire is pointless. This story was translated into 50 different languages, and it is actually one of the first anti-war novels written. I think Erich Maria Remarque, who wrote All Quiet on the Western Front, was actually inspired by Hašek's writing. And if I'm not mistaken, even Joseph Heller, who wrote Catch-22, he also got inspired by the story of Jaroslav Hašek. The second book on this list was written by Bohumil Hrabal, and it's called I Served the King of England. It is a story of a guy whose name is Dítě, and Dítě translates from Czech as a child. Dítě is very ambitious person. He works in a remote hotel outside of Prague, but he dreams about becoming rich, influential, great, you know, increasing his power, and he's ready to betray everything in order to achieve success. When Nazi forces come and occupy Czech Republic and Prague, he starts to collaborate with Nazi forces, and he becomes a Nazi sympathizer. He marries a German woman who supports Nazi party. Dítě in the end tries to go away from his Czech roots and tries to blend in with those Germans who are ardently supporting Hitler. But in the end, as we know, Nazi Germany loses war and Soviet forces come and replace them. This story had a very profound influence when I read it in my 20s, because it showed me that our life is often defined by the goals we set. When we choose to pursue pointless, futile goals, in the end we turn around and we realize that we have lived pointless lives. It is so important to choose which direction to go in life, because in the end that direction will define who you are. And this is the reason why I really enjoyed this story. It is very well written, as all the books on this list, but I would really recommend everyone who is interested, who is in kind of like career crisis or is lost in life, to read this book. I found it really interesting. The third book on this list is for those who are really into darker kind of literature, you know, Gothic literature, something that resembles Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, because the book that I would like to recommend is Golem written by Gustav Meyrink. Golem is this mythical creature who I think every 30 years appears on the streets of Prague and haunts its inhabitants. I really liked this short review of Golem on Goodreads. Think Kafka, but on whatever Lewis Carroll was on for Alice in Wonderland. Lurking in its inhabitants' subconscious is the Golem, a creature of rabbinical myth, supposedly a manifestation of all the suffering of the ghetto. It comes to life every 33 years in a room without a door. When the jeweler Athanasius Pernath, suffering from broken dreams and amnesia, sees the Golem, he realizes to his terror that the ghostly man of clay shares his own face. Of course, Golem as a mythical creature represents the subconscious fears that people have. And what I liked about this story is because Meyrink very well describes how much we are driven by the things that we are completely unconscious about, that lies deep within our psyche. And I thought that this is a wonderful piece of literature. I've enjoyed reading every book that I've told you so far, but this book that I'm going to tell you about, it has kind of a special place in my mind. I really enjoyed reading Mendelssohn is on the Roof, written by Weil, and it is a story of Prague when it was occupied by Nazi forces, and one of the Nazi commanders notices that on Prague's concert hall there is a statue of a Jewish composer, Felix Mendelssohn. He orders one of his henchmen, he says, like, go up and remove the statue. The problem is that the henchman and one of the key protagonists, whose name is Julius Schlesinger, he doesn't know what Mendelssohn looks like, so he doesn't know which statue to remove. He and his henchmen decide to measure the noses of the statues to identify which statue belongs to Mendelssohn. They make a horrible mistake, and instead of Mendelssohn, they remove the statue of Richard Wagner, who was one of the favorite composers of Adolf Hitler. The reason why I love this story so much is because it reveals how silly it is sometimes to follow those ideology principles that are not founded on any ground. And this wonderful piece of literature reveals how stupid are the ideologies in general, and how stupid are we when we decide to apply the closed systems of thought in order to explain the world. And I think this is the reason why I come back to this story so often. It's because ideology hasn't gone away. In our modern age, we can fool ourselves and think that there is no ideology, that we don't follow any closed systems of thoughts. In reality, ideology never goes away. Every time when we don't make an active choice to analyze the world, when we apply ideas of someone else to understand the world, instead of using our own critical thinking, we face the problems that Julius Schlesinger faced himself. You know, he wasn't thinking himself, he was blindly obeying the orders and was afraid to question authority. I think this is the reason why this book has such a special place in my mind. And the last book on this list is more from a classical kind of Czech author whose name is Jan Neruda. Jan Neruda was a poet and journalist. He had a kind of a tumultuous life. I think he was born in 1830s. I think I'll put the correct date here. I don't want to make a mistake, but he was active in the 19th century, and he was a journalist and wrote a lot of kind of those sardonic satirical sketches. And one of his works is called Prague Tales. I don't know how it is called in Czech. I'll put it also somewhere here so you can check it out. I really loved those sketches of Prague. You know, it kind of revealed a little bit about the soul of the city. You know, you have to live in Prague to understand how it feels like. These are kind of short sketches about the life of Prague people, and it's kind of like already 150 years old, but great literature never gets old. And I really wanted to include this book on this list because I do remember that when I read it whilst I was living in Prague, it kind of revealed to me another side of the city. I know I haven't included Milan Kundera, I didn't include Karel Čapek, I didn't include Franz Kafka, who also deserved to be on this list. I wanted to, first of all, to give you a list of the books that had a really profound influence on me. These are books that I come back to every now and then. I reread them, I think about them. I'm going to make a separate video on Milan Kundera and on Franz Kafka, but I would like to ask my new subscribers from Czech Republic if you could recommend some pieces of Czech literature that I haven't mentioned that you think deserve attention. If you could include some of your favorite pieces of Czech literature in the comments, I would be very grateful. And of course, I would like to thank everyone who is subscribed to this channel. Each subscription adds such a smile to my face. One of the things that I didn't realize when I didn't have my own YouTube channel is how important is each subscriber, because I get so excited when I see that I got one more subscriber, and it sounds so lame, but it is so true. So thank you all who subscribe to my channel, who have been following me. You can subscribe to my channel. I would be really grateful if you are not subscribed yet. You can also subscribe to my Instagram and to my newsletter where I recommend more books. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao ki. Bye. Pointedness of So the first book that I welcome back to my channel and to my library, and my name is Vashik. It was written by Karel Čapek, Jaroslav Hašek.